to all of y'all. And on behalf of Ricoh Malaysia, thank you so much for taking your time to attend the October installment of the Ricoh webinar series. So this webinar session is entitled Cyber Pandemic, the Silent Threat That Waits, Advanced Threats That Cause Major Breaches and How to Counter Them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as technology improves, so do the threats. We have just made our way through a global pandemic known as COVID-19. In the cybersecurity world, there are threats that lurk ready to strike at businesses. So for this, ladies and gentlemen, the speaker for today's webinar is Mr. Christopher Yao from Sang4 Technologies. Now, a brief introduction to Sang4. Sang4 Technologies is a global provider of network security, cloud computing, and infrastructure optimization technology and solutions. Ricoh Malaysia works closely with Sang4 to provide solutions for businesses to ensure that they are ever ready to counter any threats that face them. So now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'd like to call upon Mr. Christopher to begin his presentation. On to you, Mr. Christopher.
All right, thank you, Mr. Thomas. I'll share my screen. All right, I believe everyone can see my screen now. Good afternoon, and thank you everyone for attending this webinar. My name is Mr. Christopher Yao. I'm a pre-sales manager at Sang4 Malaysia, Sang4 Technologies Malaysia. And as Thomas mentioned, today I will be speaking about advanced threats. All right, so they are threats that are normal, that can be blocked by firewall, but they may be threats within your environment that are hidden, or for example, that are not easily detected by and stopped by firewalls or antivirus, etc. So I'll be talking about advanced threat that they can cause major breaches that cause loss in revenue, stop in production, and so on. So they may be hard to detect. And how can you protect yourselves from attacks like these? But before I get into it, allow me to just get into a very brief introduction about what Sang4 actually is. All right. So Sang4, we are established in from China, Shenzhen, China, since year 2000, and we have been operating for 22 years. In Malaysia, we are incorporated in Malaysia, Sang4 Malaysia, since year 2010, and it has been 12 years in Malaysia. So we have a wide market footprint of around 60 plus global branches around the world. So you can see here, we are across all these branches. And for Malaysia, we are the support center for the Asia Pacific region. So we have a strong support center right here in Malaysia. And also just to let you have a very quick overview of the solutions provided. So as Thomas mentioned, we are providing network security products and solutions such as firewalls, SD-WAN, which is the site-to-site connection, and we have our own antivirus we call as Endpoint Secure. Other than network security, which is our bread and butter, we also have cloud computing, all right, where we have hyper-converged infrastructure, where we can converge all your server infrastructure into a single tier architecture. And last but not least, we also do provide security services. We do one-time threat intelligence assessments. We do real-time managed detection response, and also incident responses for touch wood if you have encountered a ransomware and so on. And that is what some services that we can do. All right, so enough about Sang4. That is what we do. Let's go straight into today's topic, which is the hidden advanced threat. And what are some of the challenges that we face today in this modern age? As we know, now warfare is being moved to cyberspace. So we are now having cyberspace warfare, where maybe enemy countries, they may be targeting large enterprises or medium enterprises from an enemy state or enemy country, and they might exfiltrate some data, leak it on the dark web, for example. So actually the damages can be quite major. So let's take a look at what are some of the challenges that we face. All right, so this is the landscape, all right, of the ransomware threat landscape. So actually from the Fortune 1000 companies, there are around 46% of CSOs and CISOs, Chief Information Security Officers. They admitted that currently ransomware is one of their biggest threats, okay, to their organization in the next 20 years. So according to Gartner, Gartner is a body which you may know them for having their magic quadrants. So when you want to know what products to use, you may refer to their magic quadrant by Gartner. So Gartner actually mentioned that 75% of organizations may encounter ransomware at least once within these 2 years. All right, so it is very likely that you may have already encountered ransomware since 2020 until now. Or if you do not, it is even highly likely that you may get ransomware once. All right, at least once within these 2 years. So you can see a ransomware detection in ASEAN countries from in the year 2020, the pandemic year, from January to September, you can see there is a very high amount from Indonesia, Vietnam, also Malaysia. So Malaysia also has 136,000, which is not to be scoffed at. It's not a small number. All right. So you can see here these weird names you see here, Maze, Revel, Ragnar, and Netwalker. These are different names of ransomware. So ransomware is a big family. Basically, any malicious programs that encrypt your computer, they lock your files. That is what they do. They lock your files and they ask ransom for you to decrypt the files. All right. So within ransomware family itself, there are many family names such as these, Maze, Reverse example, and they target different industries and they have different methods to actually try to get you to exfiltrate money from you. So you can see here, for example, Maze targets Singapore as aerospace industry, Thailand state enterprise, for example. Revel also it targets these few segments. So it's just to say that we have many ransomware out there, and they are very effective in targeting the industries and actually trying to attack whoever they're targeting. So we believe that there is a ransomware and there is an attacker that is targeting every industry that they can. All right. So what are some case studies, some news articles that we've seen that a ransomware incident actually hit? So for the healthcare industry, we have e-research technology. All right, they resorted to pen and paper. So now everyone is using digital. Okay, all your systems are going to digital web-based, but they resolved to pen and paper because of a ransomware attack on their health tech firm. So this one slowed down their COVID-19 research. Okay, in utilities, there is a K Electric. Okay, K Electric, they were attacked by Netwalker ransomware. So in this incident, 3.85 million US dollars ransom was demanded. Okay, was demanded. They did not pay it, but they were a loss of 8.5 gigabytes of data. They were dumped publicly on the dark web so everyone could access their confidential data. Honda was attacked by a ransomware named Snake Ransomware. All right, so they had a few plants shut down worldwide. It has been the second ransomware attack in 3 years. So just now we said on average, within these 2 years, 2020, 2022, it is expected that most organizations will get ransomware once per every 2 years. So Honda, they got the second ransomware attack within 3 years. Okay, so it is quite frequent. I also know some companies that may have gotten 2 ransomware attacks in 1 year because the attacker may have found a loophole, and the loophole has not been actually protected or patched, so they continue to exploit that. They also have telecommunications. We have Orange Telecommunications. They were attacked by NetFilm ransomware. This exposed 20 of their enterprise customer records. In the pharmaceutical company, right, Pierre Faber, they were attacked by Rival ransomware. So they were demanded 25 million ransomware demand. So throughout the ransomware attack, their production was halted, right, brought to a compute stop, and then the company data was stolen. And then in manufacturing, Apple supplier Quanta, they were attacked by Rival. Okay, and for manufacturing, Acer was also attacked by Rival. So you can see Rival has actually demanded a lot of ransomware, a ransom. So you're seeing here big names, all right? You're seeing big names and you might be thinking, oh, they might have a lot of money to be ransomed, to be scammed, or they may have important data to be leaked. Maybe it might not occur towards me, all right? So let's look at one of the biggest ransomware attacks in US history. So they had a ransomware attack to their Colonial pipeline. So basically the Colonial pipeline is the largest pipeline system for their refined oil products, all the way here from Houston to Linden. All right, so they're carrying a huge amount of oil. So this pipeline is 5,500 miles long, and they can carry 3 million barrels of fuel per day between Texas and New York. So 45% of all fuel for Eastern US goes through this pipeline. So the ransomware attacked the pipeline, and when they attacked the production, because everything was computerized, it had to stop. All right, it has to stop, and it caused a very huge sum in damages. Right, so these are the impacts on big industries. How about maybe some of us here, we are from SMEs, all right, small medium enterprises. What effects can ransomware actually do towards you? Impact. So first, they might leak your data. All right, although you might be a big company, you might be a medium end company, I believe all of us have important files that is critical to our business, all right, and that we cannot let our competitors get hold of it, and it is quite invaluable to us. So data leakage is one of the things that comes with a cyber attack. They will leak your data to the competitors on the dark web, maybe with a premium, right? You may not experience downtime. Your production servers, your business may be brought to a halt. All right, you may stop. Resources. Your team, for example, your IT team, they, despite their daily operations, they may have to go through a headache of restoring all your servers, right? Restoring all from backup. They consume a lot of time to actually remove all these attacks from your servers. Financial losses, they may demand a lot of ransom, and your company image will be actually negatively impacted. So we have a few companies in Malaysia right now. I won't name some of the companies, but they had ransomware and they actually lost some of their customers' trust because, for example, if they're holding your customers' data, how sure are you that they are able to safeguard it if you have heard of the news of them getting ransomware, right, on the news? So these are some of the negative impacts that it may bring to maybe your company if you get ransomware. So why are we so focused on ransomware as one of the advanced threat? All right. So you can see here, traditionally, Europe is the one that has gotten more ransomware attacks because they have gotten ahead of computers and cyber age, right? Maybe in the 90s, for example. So Europe, in Italy, they had hit by a wave of ransomware attacks. But actually nowadays, ASEAN countries or Asia Pacific countries like us actually are actually getting more ransomware attacks even compared to European countries. So let's just take a look at some of our neighbors. For example, Thailand. All right. So the Royal Thai Police said actually most of their companies that got ransomware, they actually paid the ransom. All right. They didn't disclose how many percent, but they disclosed that most of them paid ransom. And take a look at Singapore. Singapore, 83% of businesses are actually actively being attacked. All right, by an attacker either using ransomware or other means. Right, Malaysia, our National Health Service lost almost 100 million, all right, towards the ransomware attacks, which is why ransomware is very effective in stopping a business and causing huge financial losses. So we have to say, so we have a saying that goes that if you want to stop your enemy, you need to know your enemy. So what does ransomware actually do? So I just introduced to you what ransomware does in these 4 steps. All right. The first step of a ransomware, what they will do is infection. Basically, this is a step where how will they actually enter your network? How they will actually attack you. All right. Because now all your computers in your organization is clean. How did they enter? All right. It may be maybe from an email. From email, you clicked a malicious link and they downloaded the malware and it's now in your environment. It may be just a pen drive. The pen drive has the ransomware. Someone plugs it in the computer in your company and then it brought it to your organization. So the first step is how it is being brought from an external source into your environment, the infection stage. Next, we have CNC, which is command and control. Basically, when the computer already has the malware files, they are able to establish connection to the attacker. The attacker may be somewhere else, maybe in the US, maybe somewhere else. So they will be notified that, oh, your computer has been successfully infiltrated, right? The malware has been installed into the PC. So now they have communication, and at this stage, actually the attacker is already able to get some private information. They're able to exfiltrate the confidential files or private information, and they can get it from their database. So for example, in Malaysia, we have actually had our IC, right? Our identification card has been leaked already. So this is the stage where this can be done. And then the third step is where most of us actually know ransomware happens. Exploitation is when they actually lock all your files. So in this stage, you are not able to open your files, right? They have been locked and the PC screen may have turned red and saying, oh, now we are demanding how much ransom for you. So that is the part of the ransomware where you know, or only in the third stage you will know that there is an attack in your environment. And last but not least, there is only one PC here, so they will try to spread towards many other PCs, right? In the environment, you are maybe the third PC, the second, third, and fourth. They will try to infect as many computers as possible. That will be propagation. How do they spread internally? So you can see here, they are not actually spreading from outside your network, right, for external source to internal. This one is already in your organization and it's just spreading within your organization. Okay, they are spreading within organization. So now that we know how the ransomware works, later we'll talk about how to stop them. All right. So when you can see here, time is actually a critical factor during a breach. Why do we say so? Because many of the companies or many of the customers we've met, they are actually not just concerned about blocking attacks from entering their environment. They already have malicious programs in their environment. Most of them already have certain malware that there is. So when this happens, it's not a matter whether your firewall or your security product is able to block or not. It's whether your products are able to detect it as early as possible. So you can see here, if you detect the malware in the earlier stage, there is a low impact because the malicious program or the attacker has not done much to the environment. But the longer you wait, what happens in this time, they may be able to exfiltrate data. For example, just as I mentioned, many of our Malaysians IC card have been exfiltrated. So in this process, they're uploading data, they're stealing information, all right, they're stealing information. And when it comes to this stage, it is almost too late to detect, because when you detect this, maybe they already done a web defacement attack. They brought down your website. So they changed your website with something else. All right, so this one tarnishes your company reputation greatly. So there's a high impact. So we want to reduce this. We want to reduce the dwell time. We want to reduce how long the malware actually stays in your network. We want to detect it as early as possible. So according to Gartner, the mean time to detect, all right, on average, the time it takes to detect and respond towards a malicious program is around 56 days on average. And this one translates to $3.68 million cost of a data breach. So the earlier we find it out, the better. So we will need some tools to be able to detect the malware inside your network as early as possible. So you can see here, why do security teams struggle to do this? Right? You may think that, oh, it's easy. Just install antivirus in all the computers in your environment and you will be good to go. But there are actually struggles to actually even do this. Why? First thing, too many products. Okay, you may have many products. You have a different brand for firewall, different brand for web application firewall, different brand for intrusion prevention system, different brand for endpoint detection response system, EDR. So when you have all the different brands and the different devices, they are each doing their own thing and they do not communicate. So when this problem happens, you try to call your vendor, they may say, oh, this is not my fault. This is because of the another vendor, another product that caused this. You call them and then you also cannot get. So there's no one point of contact for everyone, for all the products, or there is no one platform that can manage their products. So this is the first problem. They do not share information, your security appliances. You have too much noise, because when it's determining a security event, it is very hard to say, oh, which one is important, because sometimes even a very small event can trigger alert. When there are too many notifications, your security team will get tired. They do not know which one to manage. So there's too much noise. All right. And it's too difficult to manage. Even though I know there's event, how do I actually deal with it? All right. You have a lack of necessary information. So the in and outs of it, of each incident, you do not know too much. It is difficult to hunt the threats. So you only have a firewall, you only have antivirus. Just with an antivirus, you are not able to know, oh, where did it come from? How do I investigate which PC actually transmits to which PC, the malware, right? That one is not able to be done. And there is too many manual labor, right? There's too much things that you need to be done manually without any automation. So all these are the struggles of your security team in managing this kind of malware. So the more struggles they are, you might find them to be not as effective or efficient. Which means it's a higher possibility that you may have malicious programs still running your network today. And they're actually just waiting to cause a major incident in your network security environment. right? So that is the threats that we are facing, all right? The advanced threats in your network, and you are not able to detect it. So let's see how can we actually uncover these threats, all right? We want to uncover these hidden threats. So you can see here, now the most of the organizations, what they have is just, as I mentioned, just a firewall and maybe some antivirus they use. So what is the problem with this approach? The problem with this approach is that traditional firewalls, they only guard you from the untrusted zone. So let me use a simple metaphor. So for example, the firewall here, this next-gen firewall, it's just like a guard, right? It's your guard lah, your guardhouse. So your jaga outside there. All right. So when someone wants to come in, they will verify whether this is a good person or a bad person. If it's a bad person, they won't allow into your building. If it's good, they will pass. Or if they have a ID card, they can pass. All right. So that's what the firewall does. It's the same as a guard. They only can prevent who is entering or who is not able to enter. But once the guy is in your building, right, in your data center, they are free to do whatever they wish because they do not need to pass any further checkpoints or any guards, which means there's no other firewall inside, because this is what you call your trusted zone. So you will not install all the guard posts everywhere inside your building. So how do you monitor what these bad guys are doing, all right, or these malicious programs are doing in your computer environment? So in your building, you will have a CCTV system, all right? You will have a CCTV system that can monitor the behavior of suspicious behaviors in your company, right? The same thing is what we need. We need a network sensor, all right, to detect in the network all the malicious activities that these programs are doing. So we are transitioning, as I mentioned earlier. Just now I mentioned we want to reduce dwell time. We want to detect malicious activities as early as possible. So you can see firewall is just a preventive measure. They prevent them from entering. But when it's already inside your environment, you want to have a means to detect all the threat. Yeah, firewall is a preventive. What you lack now is a detective. All right, you can detect. So it's like your CCTV, but for your network environment. So how do we actually track these internal threats? So an analogy here. So you can see all these people here. What is happening is that all of these people here, they all have COVID. All right, it's a pandemic. All of them have COVID. So how do you actually prevent the next COVID, prevent the next pandemic? You need to track the first patient, track patient 0. So this is the guy. All right, he's the first human ever to get COVID. Okay, let's say he's the first ever human to get COVID, and from him, he will spread to other people. Right? Other people got COVID because of him. So what did he do? Did he drink a bad soup? Okay, or maybe he was exposed to a lab virus. Okay, so whatever the reason was, you need to find the first guy, which is patient 0, the first guy who got COVID, and then you can analyze what he did and what is the things that we can do in the future to prevent a similar incident from happening again. So the same thing applies to our computers. These are all the computers and the servers. So all of them have malicious programs or ransomware. So we need to, the same thing as COVID, we need to find the patient 0, the first person who got the malicious activity. All right, so we need a means to find out the first person who got it. From there, we are able to find out, say, oh, let's say this computer, someone put a pen drive in there. All right, that's how we got it. Okay, or then maybe what we can do is that we can say that company devices, we don't allow pen drive, or we need to have a certain registration before you can actually put the pen drive inside the computer. Or maybe it was due to a remote, okay, a remote desktop, which means someone else can actually remotely access the computer. And this one is already available publicly accessed. So it's a security threat. It should not be public. Okay, so you can ask your security administrator to block the public access. So from here, we are able to investigate how the event happened, detect it, and find out how it happened. And then we will be able to prevent the same thing from happening again in the future. So you can see the keyword here in dealing with the dwell time, in finding out, in detecting the attack, we need to find out the first guy who had it, which is patient 0. All right, so Sang4, we actually offer these kind of tools to help you with tracking down the patient 0. They have detection capabilities to see within your network. So as I mentioned just now, the CCTV in your building. We are the CCTV for your internal network infrastructure. So what we can do here, we can track the patient 0 just now, the first guy who got the malware. All right, how we do this, we have tools in our software. We call it the golden eye. So what the golden eye does is it can see these. Okay, so these are the screenshots from our program. All right, so you can see here, because we are able to look into your network, we can see, oh, how is all my PC and servers communicating with each other? So let's say in the center, the software download server has ransomware. So how do they spread? Or maybe who is spreading ransomware towards me? With these sensor tools, we are able to detect and we are able to find out, oh, how did the malicious attack actually happen? So this is one of the view of GoldenEye. And we also, once we identify that the software download server is the one that has all this, then we can further investigate, say, oh, what are all the websites or the IP address that he ever visited? What are some of the protocols, the ports that he's been accessing? And from there, your security team will be able to troubleshoot very quickly how did the attack even happen in your environment. So before this, it might take your security team a whole night or maybe even one day to actually troubleshoot what is happening, how did it even happen. But with these tools, these detection tools, you are able to maybe reduce the same workload to just 20 to 30 minutes because we have all your network information presented to you in a graph format, right? So it's easier for your security team to do this troubleshooting. So that's what we provide, all right? These tools called GoldenEye, that is like the CCTV to your network environment. So this one helps you to detect the advanced threats within your network, right? So these are some of the samples of our platform. We can tell you what stage the attack is at now. So maybe you have some weaknesses, all right? And someone exploited it. So there have been 2 attempts of exploiting your vulnerability. All right, they have a command and control event happening. All right, and how many computers have been propagated? All right, have been transmitted this malware. So we can show you the attack stages. Okay, which stage the attack is at now. What is the impact of this attack in your environment? All right, we can identify them for you and we can tell you, oh, what is the impact now? It's being exploited. What can you do about it? What is our recommendation? Next, we can have a look, all right, a very clear look at each date and each time. What are the events that are happening? All right, so in chronological order, we have a chronology of events that shows you, oh, in this time, this attack is happening. In that time, the attack is happening. So you can find out the entry point of the event. The patient 0, all right, what time did it happen? All right, the root cause of the attack. How did the attack actually happen? Okay, what's the root cause? So all these we will be listed in our sensor, our network sensor, in a chronological order, in a timely manner. And last but not least, as I showed just now, we are able to show you this graph of network propagation. So which PC is spreading the ransomware to other servers? We are able to show that. So the communication of devices is shown very clearly in our network sensor device. And we can show you the attack movements. How did the attack actually happen? How is the attack being transmitted? And so on. So these are some of the sample things that you can see on our platform, right? And also just by looking at network, it is not enough to capture the advanced threats. To capture advanced threats, we need even more advanced intelligence. So from SANG4, we have AI. Okay, we have the AI machine learning used to analyze your network traffic. And from there, we are able to capture the advanced threat. Let's take some examples. We have these 3 AI that normal security appliances will not be able to actually capture if they did not have AI. One of the AI we have there is from normal behavior of a server, right? The abnormal behavior of a server, all right? So we analyze per day, what is the internet they're using, for example. So when there is a breach, okay, there's abnormal breach, there's a higher usage than usual, our AI will actually analyze, oh, what actually caused this suspicious behavior? It may be because of an attack named brute force attack, where the attacker tries to brute force, tries to keep guessing your password. All right. So from there, we are alerted of this just from the abnormal behavior. So this one, your normal systems might not be able to detect it. Next, let's say we have one computer here. This PC it actually has malware or ransomware. But the problem is your security team did not manage to install any antivirus program on this computer. So how do you know that it has virus malware? All right, just from detecting the network, right? So what are the domains? What are the websites they are visiting? What are their IP address or the things they are visiting? Okay, so from here we are able to identify, oh, because this PC is going towards these websites, we can actually say that, oh, this one actually has this ransomware, Ricoh ransomware. This one actually has WannaCry ransomware. We are able to identify that that PC has a certain malware just using AI to analyze the network behavior, even though we do not have a antivirus installed into that computer. And last but not least, we are able to track the movements. So this is all the green dots are servers and computers, right? So when a server and computer has a communication, there's a line. So from these lines, we are able to find out, say, oh, because this computer is actually communicating with other servers in a very weird manner, we analyze your AI, this manner is not normal. So we are able to deduce that, oh, he's actually trying to spread the malware or spread the ransomware across your network so that more computers are affected. So we have this kind of AI technology built into our platform to actually further find out a bit with even little information. All right, so once we are able to find out, so your security analyst or our security analyst will be able to do some response towards your products, your endpoints. For example, your PC that has your host that has ransomware, we want to remove it from the network. So we can help you to isolate the host from the network or quarantine an endpoint or virtual machine. We can block the traffic in your firewall, right? Our analytics can automatically respond and ask your firewall to block this malicious behavior, or we can lock up some certain accounts. And if you do not have a huge manpower to do this, we actually build in with what we call this SAW. SAW is actually for automated response. When you have a security incident, we can automatically create some response for it. So when it happens, there is automated response. So it's in real time and the response is automatic. So all this, you can help to reduce the chances of the compromised host actually spreading the malware or causing even more headaches from the advanced threats within your network. So we can have a smarter net response. And just now I mentioned that one of the problems is that you have too many different brands, all right, too many different products in your network that they may not talk to each other. So this analytics platform, it acts as a platform to organize response to all the different products. We can talk to multiple brands of firewall. We can talk to multiple brands of endpoint, all right, for example. So we can do this isolation of hosts or blocking of network traffic, even with third-party security appliances. So just with one platform from this one, we are able to manage responses to all the other third-party security products. All right, so so now you can streamline your process. So previously you have one security guy, right? You have one security guy. He's talking to the antivirus. He's talking to the firewall. He's talking to all these people, and everyone is buzzing him. Why is the network down? Why is everything so slow? Right? So he's having a headache because he's just a human. He cannot handle this much. All right. So from there, now that you have our platform, so this is our platform. The CC here is our platform. All the information from security appliances, they are all consolidated and all sent to one platform. All right, they're all sent to one platform, and all the people here can also just look at one platform. So this platform can also do automatic responses to third-party firewalls or endpoints. So your security analyst, he can just deal with this one platform and not have to go manually to each and every one of the products. Like here you see, he goes into this product, he goes into that product. So now you are streamlining the process. So you have a single platform to manage all of these security events. Okay, and also, what keeps your chief information security officers up at night? They may have concerns on data privacy. They may have concerns that they do not have security visibility. So this one can be resolved with our analytics platform. Technology limitation, it can be resolved with our analytics platform. All right, but what cannot be resolved by any product is that maybe your team does not have the knowledge on how to deal with these events, or you might have a skill shortage, right? So now security people are actually very in high demand. So you may get a security guy and he might hop off to somewhere else because of a very competitive market. So instead of getting all the security skills inside, you can also outsource your security operations. So from us, we have these services. We call it a cyber guardian service. So what we do is that you instead of relying on your security guys for all your security concerns, you can outsource it to us, where we will help you to manage your security events 24/7, right? We are able to manage all the events for you. You will gain access to our security experts. All right. We may form a channel, your channel of choice, maybe the WhatsApp group. And inside the WhatsApp group, you have from us our security service manager, our technical account manager. And from there, we will actually advise you on what you can do in this security event. Let's say now you are having a malware attack, for example. We will give you the real-time advice, right? And we can prevent the threat and incident. So maybe in a very early stage, we are able to detect the advanced threat that's happening in the environment, and we can stop it before it actually goes for a very long time, right? So we can stop it and we can prevent any major incident from happening. So that is the appeal of our services, where you can outsource your security to us. We can help you to manage and advise you on what to do, or help you to do some of the responses. All right. So why our services? So for our services, what are the advantages? Because these cloud services, they have to rely on a cloud data center, and some of our customers, they are concerned on what if my data is being sent outside of Malaysia. So we have a regulation that says our data has to stay in Malaysia. So from Sangfor, we have our data center in Malaysia, in Cyberjaya. So our security operations, the data that is handled will all stay in Malaysia. It will not leak out to maybe Singapore, Amazon Web Services, for example. That will not happen. All right. Our services leverage on the AI that I mentioned just now. Our AI, we can custom a use case. All right. You can custom maybe just one or two products. You don't have to buy everything from us. Just have with what you have, we can create a services for you to help you manage your security operation. We can give you a response. Okay. A response. So if you use the products, then you may get some robotic response saying that, oh, this event happened, so this is the advice. But from us, because we have a real human team behind, so we are able to give you a response that is relevant to your information instead of just what a robot can say. Right? We can give you the advice based on our latest threat intelligence, and we have a proven track record. So we are one of the major security operations for the China government and also the big enterprises. So now we are replicating, and we are bringing our expertise to Malaysia. So we are able to provide for these security services. Okay, so we are almost at the end of my sharing. Just to recap, just a quick recap. Ransomware is one of the attacks that is that is able to stop your production and cause financial losses. All right, and some of these attacks, they stay in your environment for a long time and causing a major effect or major losses to your environment. So what we can do, we need some tools that is able to actually detect what is happening internally, and then like a CCTV, and then from there we can stop it because we are able to detect it. So we need detection technology. Normal firewalls that you're using is just a preventive technology. We need a detection technology. And once you have a detection technology, you may lack the resources or human skills required to manage such detection technology. From there, you may choose to get services from us to outsource your security operations so that we can help you to handle. And if there is any event that happens, our security team will be there to assist you. Will be there to assist you for your security operations. So that is about it from me. May I know if there are any questions on the floor that needs me answering to? So you may type your questions in the chat box in Microsoft Teams, and I will answer your queries.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Christopher, for that very insightful presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, now would be a fantastic time to ask Mr. Christopher. So, additionally, ladies and gentlemen, I just would like to just put a bit of input on what I've noticed. Cybersecurity, of course, just to sum it all up, it is a very, very essential and key component that we need to look into. Imagine if there was a time that we could actually detect COVID before it came, we wouldn't have to go through 2 years of economic meltdowns and deaths and lockdowns. So similarly for businesses, I feel that it's definitely something that we should take strongly. And here at Ricoh Malaysia, we definitely look keenly into getting the best solutions required, and that's why we work with Sangfor very closely on this. So, ladies and gentlemen, are there any questions from the floor for Mr. Christopher? We are now opening the floor for Q&As. Okay, if there are no questions, I actually have a question for Mr. Christopher. Mr. Christopher, just would like to know, for all this that you've presented earlier, for businesses that already have an existing cyber security package involved, let's say they have a firewall already, are all these solutions scalable or not for their businesses?
Yes, as I mentioned, if you were using an existing, in our understanding in the Malaysian market, most of the, especially the small and medium enterprises, they are using like a combination of firewall and antiviruses. So
Mhm.
for the firewall antivirus, you may not need to use the Sangfor product, but our platform, our detection capability, detection platform is able to connect to these third party, right? These third party devices, and we can actually help them to actually do response towards their existing product. So there is no need to actually revamp your whole infrastructure. You can use your existing technology, and we can just put this platform on top of it. And I believe that that will actually help what is already there in the existing time.
Okay, thank you. Also, so that means Sangfor will continue to improve. Also, let's say, for example, because these threats they are always omnipotent and they can always change over time based on whoever's programming them. Am I correct? So
Yes.
in that case, Sangfor is always keeping up to date to ensure that all the infrastructure that they provide, it will be able to detect even the latest ones, right?
Yes, we
Okay.
have our own threat intelligence that we update very quickly, and that threat intelligence is also being shared with we have a shared intelligence with Virus Total and Microsoft White Hat. So from there, we are keeping ourselves up to date. But let's say the threat is very new; it's not even in our threat intelligence yet. That's why we are leveraging on AI to actually protect our customers from new unknown threats that are even yet to be in our threat intelligence.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, are there any questions from the floor,
Yes,
ladies and
Mr.
gentlemen?
Song Wing Kit actually says that currently we have our solution in place, but if you would outsource the detection and this cyber command, how are you to be sure that your expertise in handling our current solution in it? Mr. Song, rest assured, if you would like to have a try, you can contact Ricoh, and then how we can actually ensure our expertise in that, we can actually show you we have a very tight SLA, service level agreement on how many endpoints can we detect, how accurate are we up to, right? So we can actually share this document with you if you're interested. And also we have our staff that has security credentials such as CISSP, CEH certified ethical hacker, and so on. So rest assured, we have the staff that is actually very pro in security. And if you're interested to do a test, we can present you with these SLA documents and also the credentials of our security team. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Song Wing Kit. Right, back to you, Thomas. Thank you.
Okay, I think Mr. Song has additional one. Do we need to change to Sangfor solution or we integrate our solution into Sangfor CC?
Yes, it's quite similar what Thomas asked, is that your existing security appliances, which is usually a firewall or antivirus, you do not need to change them. We support third party products, so you can just integrate your existing solution into the Sangfor CC. You don't have to change your existing products. Yeah, I hope that answers to your second question. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. All right, thank you, Mr. Song, for the question. Are there any other questions from the floor? Feel free to write in the chat. We still have time. Or if not, please, you can unmute your microphone and just ask right away. Okay. I think everyone's still digesting at the moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there are no further questions at this point of time, rest assured you all have access to this chat room. So please feel free to drop messages after this event. Also, you can actually drop further messages into the chat, and our team at Ricoh will be more than happy to consult with you as well as bring forth some for solutions to assist whatever questions that you may have. Okay, so if there are no further questions from the floor, and I think we can call this webinar to an end. First and foremost, before we end, I'd like to thank Mr. Christopher Yao for taking time off to present a very insightful and very informative presentation onto the latest, what we call it, the cybersecurity threats, ransomware that plague the world today. And also, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking your time to join this October installment for the Ricoh webinar series. Uh, with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And to those of you who are going trick or treating tonight, happy Halloween, and take care.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good time. Bye bye.